Attribution theory. Every day, we observe and evaluate the behavior of others as well as our own. The resulting conclusions and explanations we make are called attributions. Attribution theory explains the cognitive process we use to create these attributions. Although the concept of attributions has been around for some time, Fritz Heider was the first who focused on explaining the process we use to draw inferences. Whenever we see someone act in a certain way, we try to figure out the cause of his or her behavior. For instance, if our assistant Rosa did not arrange for the meeting we needed to have with our team, we will want to know how and why it happened. While sitting in our empty meeting room, if we come to a conclusion that Rosa is plain lazy and didn't bother to contact the team, we are attributing the cause to dispositional factors. Dispositional factors refer to a character or biological traits of a person. If we conclude that Rosa got stuck in the elevator on the way to work, so she couldn't have made the arrangements, we are attributing the cause to situational factors. Situational factors are generally external and out of the control of the person whose actions we're evaluating. In 1965, Edward Jones and Keith Davis expanded on Heider's work and focused on intentionality of dispositionally driven behavior. Their correspondent inference theory helps us better understand the process of making internal attributions. They refer to their evaluations of intention as correspondent inferences. If the dispositional factors we assign to a person match their actions, we say that they correspond. For instance, if we think our colleague Rick is a procrastinator and then he misses his deadline, our dispositional assessment of Rick matches his actions, or lack thereof in this case. According to Jones and Davis, there are several factors that help us determine intentionality of others' behavior. These factors are choice. Did the person have other alternatives? Assumed desirability. Is this person's behavior in line with typical social conventions? Social role. Is this person behaving according to their social role? Prior expectations. Is this person behaving consistently with their past behavior? Hedonic relevance. Does this person's behavior affect me positively or negatively, and to what extent? And finally, personalism. Is this person's behavior specifically aimed at me? Jones and Davis were not the only ones who expanded the original attribution theory. Harold Kelly developed his covariation model in order to explain the entire attribution process. It is so far the best-known model of attribution theory. According to Kelly, we consider four factors when we evaluate others' behavior: consensus, consistency, distinctiveness, and controllability. Each of these factors can have low or high level. We combine our evaluation of various levels of consensus, consistency, and distinctiveness to determine how much control a person has over the situation they're in. Consensus refers to the similarity of behavior between the observed person compared to others in the same situation. For instance, your colleague Ed seems bored sitting in the staff meeting. Since the others sitting in the room with him seem bored as well, the consensus is high. Consistency is the extent to which a person behaves the same way in similar situation over time. If Ed seems bored in every staff meeting he attends, the consistency is high. Distinctiveness refers to a person's behavior being different in this situation compared to other similar situations. If Ed was engaged at other meetings and he only seems bored at the staff meeting, the distinctiveness is high. Controllability is determined by combining judgments of various levels of consensus, consistency, and distinctiveness. This is where our covariation comes in play. If our conclusion is that the person had control over the situation, we say that they have interior locus of control. If, on the other hand, we conclude that the situation was unavoidable and the person's internal traits could not affect the outcome, we assume that the person has exterior locus of control. Using covariation of these factors helps us determine and predict controllability as well as internal or external motivation of one's behavior. According to Kelly, there are 8 possible combinations of these outcomes. In Ed's case, since everyone else seemed bored at the staff meeting, the consensus was high. Additionally, Ed seemed bored at every staff meeting, so consistency is high as well. However, Ed is engaged at other meetings with the exception of the staff meeting, so the distinctiveness of his behavior is high. Based on the combination of these results, we can conclude that there are external circumstances causing Ed to be bored at staff meetings. In conclusion, attribution theory helps us explain the ways we evaluate and assess motivations of our as well as others' behavior. It is another tool that helps us make sense of the world around us.